Welcome back to the Ross Bolen podcast, brought to you by Bolen Media. I am your host, Ross Bolen, and today I am joined by David Ruff, one of the founders of Washed Media here in Austin, Texas. One of the funniest people I've had the pleasure of knowing for, how many years have we known each other?
At least 15.
Good God, man. Really?
Where does
15.
the time go?
Wow.
I've been asking that.
Also one of the hosts of the Circling Back podcast as well. Dave, I'm turning you loose on the soundboard today in the absence of Jared. And since Dave is very proficient in roadcastering, I guess
I roadcast often.
That's the name of the device that the soundboard is housed in. We're going to let him do whatever the fuck he wants with that thing, so we'll just have to see what happens.
You come in my face, I'm going to fight you.
There you have it. That's the kind of thing that's going to happen, I imagine. Dave, my stepdaughter and your son now share a nanny.
This is true.
It's true, and I was sent a photo of them hugging earlier.
I saw that.
And my first thought was, oh, that's so cute. And then my second thought was, oh no.
What are you worried about?
I just
the eternal bond?
I'm just saying, raise your son to be a gentleman, you know, because I don't want to have to catch him sneaking out my stepdaughter's window in 10 years.
He'll be a gentleman. Maybe not a rowdy one, but he will be a gentleman. I'll tell you that right now, dude. No, there was one of that second photo. He was gazing up at her. I was like, because I know
a beautiful moment.
Initially, that I think they kind of got off on a rough patch or on a rough foot.
Yeah. That happens with kids. They're learning boundaries.
He's 19 months or whatever. So it's like
he's a baby.
He's a baby. He doesn't know.
She's 3.5. She knows a little more.
He pulls my hair out. I'm like, hey, brother, I'm already losing it.
Look, she still gives me a good dick punch every now and then, and I'm like, you can't do this to people.
So he's very mobile now, and he can run and do the baby run, and his head is lower half level, if you know what I'm saying. Pelvis level, penis level.
Yeah, dude.
So he will run full speed and just headbutt me right in the gourds.
I brought this up the other day, but it's kind of amazing to me that fathers don't just wear cups all the time like baseball players, because it is a lot.
That's something we should look into.
You know?
We could start that venture. Dad cups.
You and I.
It's the new Yeti.
We're going to be fucking rich, Dave.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeti will buy us out. We can retire, not have to do this.
Look, I have some insane headlines of the day.
Okay.
That I want us to discuss together, if you're willing.
Yeah, I love headlines.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Manscaped. It is hot as balls outside this summer, which means it's even more important to keep your balls trimmed. And the global leaders in below-the-waist grooming have the best tools for cleaning aisle 5 in your pants. Time to clear out your bush and join the other 4 million worldwide men who trust Manscaped. By going to manscaped.com, you'll get 20% off plus free shipping with the code RBP. Manscaped has the full package you need for keeping your crops fresh, the Performance Package 4.0, the only tool you need to keep your boys looking and smelling like fresh tulips that your partner wants. To start off, use the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 to trim your below-the-waist mix-up to get the most precise shave on your hedges. It's waterproof. Also has an LED light, so you could shave in the dark if you wanted to do that for some reason. I use the Weed Whacker on my nose and my ears. It clears out your holes so you can smell the summer air. And it's a nose and ear hair trimmer, the Weed Whacker. It's awesome. And they've also got the Crop Reviver, the Crop Preserver, the anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer, the spray-on toner for your balls so you can keep them from sticking to your leg and leave them smelling like fresh flowers. Finish off your grooming routine with the Plow 2.0, the perfect razor for the finest shave on your face, because you should not be using the same products that you use on your balls and dick that you use on your face. That wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't be sanitary. Don't do it. But you will get 20% off and free shipping with the code RBP at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and put in the code RBP. It's time to throw out your old hygiene habits and upgrade your downstairs mix-up today with manscaped.com. Code RBP. All right, here's one. Kanye West has allegedly bullied Pete Davidson into trauma therapy.
I'm not laughing at that.
It's funny.
I'm not laughing at the concept.
No, but it's funny. Look, I said it the other day, but just because something is sad doesn't mean it can't be funny.
Okay. Do we know? We don't know. But, I mean, was it that, or was it the fact that he just got dumped by, who I imagine was probably the hottest girl in his world?
I think it's a combination of the two. First of all, look, and I said this on Twitter, but You know, he got like Kim and all the kids' initials on his neck tattooed.
Also, my girl's a lawyer.
Yeah, that one too. And
Ill-advised.
Look, I've told the story on the show. I don't need to retell the whole thing, but the story is I got really drunk. I think a few months into marriage. I'm not really sure. My first marriage, and I was in San Marcos, which I blame entirely for it. It was our college town where Dave and I went to university
there
together,
for this.
Texas State. And I drunkenly went and I attempted to have my wedding ring tattooed on my finger. And now, not only did it not stick, didn't take, which created the ultimate analogy for the marriage as a whole. I was too drunk for it to stay. But as a dude who's gotten a really terrible tattoo, I can identify with this mistake he made, right? Fortunately, mine is now covered by a wedding ring. Very simple fix.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But in his case, he's got some thinking to do, I think, and it's not, because your point being Kim Kardashian and him, they broke up after 9 months of dating. Obviously, big news in the pop culture world. People are obsessed with these two individuals, even separately.
The tea is being spilled.
Yeah, so, and then Kanye put up something on, he came out of social media dormancy.
Of course he did.
To put up a meme that I believe said Skeet Davidson is dead. But I'm just going to go ahead and confirm. Oh, he deleted it.
Oh.
He finally deleted it. Apparently, Kim had asked him to delete it, and he was refusing to delete it, which may shock you.
Yeah, because contrary to that post, for all we know, Pete Davidson or Skeet Davidson's alive and potentially well. I mean, not, he's been better. He got dumped, and he definitely got her kids tattooed on his neck, as you stated.
Yeah.
It seems a little soon in the relationship to do that before the 1 year mark. To get the other guy's kids and the new girlfriend's kids on the neck, very visible spot.
I mean, especially given their situation, very public.
Sure.
It seemed, look, she's been married a few times.
Yeah.
That seemed like a real dice roll. Now, maybe he's just that kind of guy. Maybe I don't know as much about tattoo technology as I thought I did, but we had a former boss who got a tattoo removed, and it took session after session after session of lasering, and this was relatively simple and small. And, his are too, but it's not like you're just going to peel off a Band-Aid. It's a process to get a tattoo removed.
Unfortunately, the technology's just not there yet.
That's right. The post that Kanye put up read, Skeet Davidson dead.
Okay.
At age 28.
Come on.
Which, here's part of my problem with Ye in this day. This dude's doing gospel albums, right?
Sure.
Right?
A mental health advocate, some might say.
Bipolar himself, been very public about it. You could argue for that reason he has been a bit of a mental health advocate. And then he knows Pete, is he's a mental health guy too.
Sure.
You can't.
Famously.
He's dealt with, there was a point where he was tweeting things that were suicidally and people were worried about him and shit. So it's like you can't, I don't know.
It's sorry.
I just don't see Jesus being super stoked on the Skeet Davidson dead at age 28
No, and let me just tell you, it makes a guy like myself, it puts him in a tough spot when trying to navigate like this and have the right funny take and not take it too far because, we have, you're a mental health advocate yourself.
I am.
And so, you know what I'm saying? It's all right, well, on one hand, Kanye has been very public with his issues. But on the other hand, he's kind of being a dickhead. And I think that you can say that.
Yes.
But it's but sometimes if you go too far, Kanye's got this going on.
Right.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I know. But
I've recently discovered, Dave, nothing is anyone's fault.
everything is fucking.
There's always some. If you never watched True Detective Season 2,
don't explain the joke.
That's a hell of a reference. No, I have to. I feel obligated to let people know how good it was. It's not like you explained it. That would have been shitty.
That's pretty much my existence on circling back.
Everything is fucking. Oh my God. Yeah, no, but seriously, it is a part of this weird shift that I've had. The way I look at people, it's there's always some reason for the way people are, the way they're acting. Hard to get mad at Kanye when you know he's bipolar and going fairly untreated, it sounds like. But at the same time, hard to not judge Pete Davidson for what are pretty seemingly obvious missteps in terms of your relationship life. Look, bro,
sure.
You don't date. That's a difficult thing to navigate if you're not a celebrity.
Yeah.
And if you're 28-year-old Pete Davidson. You've already got enough fucking issues, and you're gonna go Kim Kardashian with it?
Yeah, very popular person.
That was always a ticking time bomb. You got Kanye out there buying a house next door, doing crazy shit constantly on social media, fucking freaking everybody out, harassing the woman basically. It just didn't seem like a good time to get those tattoos, is all I'm saying.
No.
You should have waited a bit, like you said. The year mark would have been a safer bet.
Unfortunately, there are no winners in this one.
No, that's true, Dave.
Please clap.
Let's go to another headline. Meta's new AI finds Mark Zuckerberg to be annoying and creepy.
Oh, no, why?
This is like one of those things that would be in a comedy about 2022, but it's actually a real headline. That keeps happening in our world. We're like, okay, come on. It's like God's writers are getting lazy because this is just ridiculous. Like,
Sure.
I don't.
Simulation.
You're a big Zuck guy.
Yeah, love getting zucked on.
Like making fun of him. I mean,
Sure,
you know.
that's what I mean.
Yeah. Your thoughts?
How did he allow this to get released? What?
I don't know. That's my question.
I feel like if anybody has the power to control this narrative, it's him, as he is, as you mentioned, Mark Zuckerberg, famously of Facebook fame.
It's amazing to me that he's still in charge. Is it not amazing to you? With the way Facebook and Instagram have gone the last 10 years. Let's just say 5 even. A 5-year run this bad, and the board hasn't been like, you know what, maybe we get rid of this fucking creepy robot that's leading us right now?
You know why I still have Facebook? It's because the daycare and the place we board my dog Randy, they don't do like a live stream. They just post photos to Facebook. So I have to have Facebook. If he's there for the day and I'm like, oh, see what he's up to.
I have it too.
Yeah, I just pop it open and look. That and looking at my wall on my birthday for all the people who I have not talked to. And like, it's very, very cliche, but it's like some of the names that are wishing me happy birthday. I'm like, man, do you even know who I am?
See, here's the thing for me. That it used to be like I'd go on there on my birthday and I'd have like 250 posts, man.
Now it's under
and it
20
made me
now.
feel so good about myself. I was like, look at all these fucking people telling me happy birthday. That rules. And then one day it was like 15 people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gotten less and less every year.
And
because nobody's on there.
I think that lines up perfectly with the Facebook.
Yeah, exactly, which is back to our conversation. Zuckerberg is not only one of the most mockable human beings on the face of the earth, much more so than even Elon Musk, which is really, really saying something at this point.
Ooh.
You think it's close?
Well, I mean, I've never actually thought about it.
I mean, it's getting a lot closer. The yacht thing pushed us way up.
Elon has become a much better social media user.
That's for sure.
Just reposting memes, just shit posting in general.
He's a shit poster and a fucking troll lord.
Sure.
But then Zuckerberg's never been good. The only good thing he ever did on social, well, two things. One, the surfing.
Right.
And then with the American flag.
The mineral sunblock just not rubbed in. So that's what baby sunblock does basically, because it's different chemicals. And I used that at the beach, and then I realized, this is what Zuck did, because I couldn't get it to rub in. So I just walked around looking like a mime.
When I was a kid in the Caymans, my dad used to put that on. I didn't live in the Caymans as a kid. That was confusing. When we'd go to the Cayman Islands as a family when I was a child, my dad would put that super white sunblock on his nose.
Love that.
He thought it was funny as shit.
It's a dad move. It is funny.
So did I.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that. That's one of the things I'm going to replicate in my dadhood.
Yeah.
Sunblock on the nose, dude.
Bring it back.
Other Zuckerberg moment on social media was, of course...
Smoking these meats.
What is it? Fucking
Sweet Baby Rays. Things of that nature.
Yes, dude.
Yeah,
so that's it, though. He has had very little success in terms of connecting with an audience on social media other than to be widely mocked.
That's one of those... That day when that Smoking These Meats thing dropped, I think we were still working together at the time. And like, that was one of those days where people would spend hours just going through that video and cutting clips and memeing it. And it never stopped being funny. Even when I see him today, even though it's like probably 7 years old.
Still makes me laugh.
I'm still like, yep.
That was one of the great days in social media history.
Smokes these meats.
Sweet Baby Ray's. His attempt to connect and seem human was just unbelievably bad.
He brought in the boys too to like crowd around and like, look, man, I'm with the fellas, and the
I'm
fellas
just like
are just
you.
like, oh
Because
man,
they're also robots. I'm just like you. I too have friends. Mark Zuckerberg, also have homies, and we smoke these meats together with
Yep.
Sweet Baby Ray's as a product placement
hey,
that no
you
one
know-
will ever understand.
we'll probably have a cold beer as well.
Yeah.
You know, and then maybe go to a strip club later. No, he probably didn't.
And then he
do
says
that.
blink out loud when he blinks. Blink. The guy's a fucking AI, for serious. And it is an honest question at this point, though. Who is the more eccentric billionaire douchebag, Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk? Because
I think it's Elon. Because I think Zuck keeps it close. Like, he doesn't put himself out there like that. He understands. Like, anytime he's dipped his toe into that water, it's not gone well. And so he's kind of like, all right, you know what? I'm going to pick my spots. Elon you wake up, like, first thing I do when I wake up, I pull Twitter open and it's like, oh, Elon just responded with some cryptic Tesla update. And I'm like, what? What is
trolling
that?
the SEC again.
Yeah,
or being in this lawsuit with Twitter, the very platform which we usually engage with him on. Yeah, he's nonstop with it. We've been inundated with Elon Musk as of late. It's become too much. So maybe you're right. But to your original question, I don't know how if you're Zuckerberg, you keep allowing information like this to get out. Because like once they gave you that, like, hey, Mark, just FYI, you know that new AI we built? Yeah. Someone asked it how it feels about you, and it answered that you were kind of annoying and creepy. And then he went, you know what? We should tell that one to CNN.
I forgot that's how we got on Zuckerberg. I forgot what the point of this headline was.
That's why I wanted to talk about him today. He's that kind of cat.
Well, yeah, that's tough. That's tough, man. Because I mean, you have to only wonder, like, what did he do, or what did he type in there that made it so creepy?
No, this thing even just like, I guess having any interaction with him has judged him to be a creepy and kind of annoying human.
Mark, did you fuck the computer, Mark? Tell me the truth.
Yeah, they made a movie about this. It's called Ex Machina. Did you ever see that one?
No, but
Oh, it's so good, Dave. You gotta watch it.
I've heard it's excellent.
You gotta watch it.
The guy fucks a computer. Don't spoil it. I'd like to find out for myself.
All right, next headline. And by the way, we will be making equal fun of both the Democratic and Republican Party in the following minutes.
Yo.
If you're going to be triggered by this woke comedy, dog, now would be the time to step away from the podcast.
Are you talking to me specifically?
I'm talking to
dog?
everybody. Nah, look, I am neither, first of all, and this is a comedy show, so just calm down. This is a Joe Biden story we're going to start with. Enjoy the jokes. Joe Biden rebranded as Dark Brandon by White House. Have you seen this story?
I have not.
Allow me to explain.
I'd love that.
So you're aware of the Republican right, the far right, I would say, using the well, maybe not the far right. It's
Let's
kind
Go
of
Brandon.
you know what? It's a very mainstream Republican thing at this point. The Let's Go Brandon thing.
You know, it was dropped on the broadcast of the golf tournament over the weekend, the Wyndham, by one Ian Baker Finch, a commentator.
Wow.
After a guy, Brandon, I don't know his last name.
Hit a good shot or something?
He holed out, and like he goes, "Let's go, Brandon," and people are speculating
That it was intentional?
Yeah, and it probably was.
That's fucking hilarious. But yeah, so you're aware of that. Well, I guess the White House has sort of there were some memes from pro Joe Biden faction of the Democratic Party, hardcore Joe Biden fans, right?
Sure,
they were trying to
memes.
Yeah, they were trying to rebrand him and make him sort of edgy, right? Like have you seen the one with like Joe Biden has laser beams coming out of his eyes?
Did they make that?
There's a version of that that's in this same thing, but basically they're trying to rebrand him as as Dark Brandon. So taking the Let's Go Brandon thing and then turning it on. They're trying to turn it, Dave. They're trying to make it theirs.
Flip
right?
the narrative.
Flip the narrative.
You got to
man.
control this.
The turntables.
This is like, are you into The Boys, the show?
I love
Not
it.
the-
Just
okay.
watched an episode last night. I'm getting toward herogasm.
Okay, I don't even know what that is.
Oh, you're in it for a fucking ride,
I'm
Dave.
like 3 into season 3.
Oh my God, Dave.
And this reminds me of like, Stormfront season 2 when she's got like her meme army.
Yes.
It's mainly that one guy who's just kicking out memes for her.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of picturing that. And like, this has been a subplot of like, I don't know if you ever watched Homeland.
Yes,
But there was
loved
like,
it. Well, I loved the
last-
first couple seasons.
the first couple seasons.
Post
yeah.
Brody, it got a little shitty.
Brody.
Yeah, Brody.
Yeah, it's Brody.
Okay, good.
I say Brody in that accent every time I drive down Brody Lane, which is a big street here in Austin.
I live right off that.
You do?
Yeah.
I didn't want to dox you, but
Oh well, it's a long ass street.
but yeah, that was like a thing where like there's like a fake Alex Jones character and like there's like a meme army, a troll army that's like doing this, pumping this propaganda. So this stuff probably exists like in some capacity. These
Oh, for sure.
remember the click farms? We were in the
Yes.
content game. You get the click farms. Well, you get the meme farms now.
Absolutely, dude. No, it's a huge part of like the political war online that I would say it is. Like that both parties very much participate in and know has powers, so they have to play into it.
Dude, every day, every time I see a meme from some like blue check mark on either side, on playing for either team, I want to get off social media. It ruins it for me. I'm like, dude, this is so lame. I probably agree with you. I probably want you to like be successful, but this sucks.
Yeah, it's not fun. And this is sort of the epitome of that, is that the White House noticed one of them that basically is doing the Dark Knight, but it's Obama. Obama. It's dragging Obama into this now. It is President Biden. And it's so bad, dude. It's the Dark Brandon Rises poster. I'll just show it to you here.
I don't want to be around anymore.
I don't either. And it's a fucking nightmare out there. And I don't know how, the thing is now Fox is reporting on it because they're looking at it and they recognize how awful it is because this is
Sure.
such a desperate attempt to be in any way relevant, which Biden has failed at largely. And I think anyone that is on either side should be able to admit that.
People are saying he's on a heater.
Well, yeah, that's what they were trying to capitalize on. They were trying to capitalize on the momentum of the last couple months when there was some positive vibes.
Put out a press release. You scored a big, they
Do
passed your bill.
anything but this. This is so Fox immediately went with it and said, "Look at this fucking pathetic attempt to rebrand him as edgy. This is so stupid."
Well, if they were going to be fair and balanced as they claim to be, they would take, I don't know, maybe the sitting senator, one of the senators from Texas, to task. And of course, I'm talking about Teddy Ballgame himself, Ted Cruz, who has gotten in. He's dabbled. He's not even dabbled.
Oh.
He's a quote tweet machine.
brother, he's doing stand up at this point.
He is. That's all it is.
What is that?
He's a trial attorney. That's all it is. It's just stand up in front of a grand jury or a jury in general.
Yeah, you're right.
And he has gotten so online now that he is like feeling himself, and it's a heat check every time he logs in.
That psychopath recognized our show and fucking gave us some pub at one point last
So wait,
year.
you've had Ted Cruz and The Rock in the last year.
Dude, it's been a real ride. The Rock was insane. I haven't even talked about it on the show yet.
Oh, I didn't mean to spoil that. For
No,
you.
no, you didn't at all.
Okay.
I'm glad you touched on it because it was so funny to see how little it did for our Twitter following. And just like, dude, it took me 28 hours to notice the tweet because I'd had such a busy couple days. No one else sent it to me. No one else noticed his reply. He replied to one of our tweets that was a clip of us accusing him and Kevin Hart of hating each other. And
They're actually in love.
It was it was obviously in jest, but the fact that The Rock replied to it, nobody noticed. I happened to find it 28 hours later and then give it some runs
That's
so we would
insane.
get. And then we still only picked up like 6 Twitter followers. He's one of the literally. Can you name a more powerful person in Hollywood that is a social media person? Like because Tom Cruise doesn't count.
No, I mean The Rock is. He is.
That's the top of the
extremely
top.
A-list. His name gets floated as a potential presidential candidate.
I believe he will be president. But it was insane.
I don't know how it went. You went 28 hours. That's shocking.
It speaks to the absolute piece of shit job that they are doing at Twitter, which is probably the real reason Elon Musk doesn't want to buy it, because I don't know how you fix it at this point. Like, remember when it was a growth platform? Do you remember?
I do.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And now it's gone.
Yeah.
I probably lost followers on my personal account the day that The Rock retweeted us. Or replied to us, sorry.
You're like, oh, this guy. Forgot I was following this dude.
Nah, that was probably more of what happened than anything. But also, Dave, it's funny. I would note the Republicans are accusing them of putting a Nazi eagle in the background of this. It's supposed to be a bald eagle.
Oh.
But that's also the direction they've
Okay,
taken it.
I actually kind of see where they're coming from.
A little bit, especially with the eye patch and stuff. It gives Biden a little bit of a Nazi feel. If you put him in front
I
of an
get
eagle
why they're
like that.
doing this. Biden doesn't exactly like inspire. He's an old man.
He's a grandpa. I've
he's-
said this. It's not his fault.
No, it's not. It's just he's very, very old, and he doesn't always articulate himself in a way that is easy to comprehend. And you know what?
Or
If we
get
could
real excited about.
Let's just meme it. Fuck it. It's like how language is going from like text base or whatever, like to emoji.
Yeah.
I'm making a comparison here, and it's probably wrong, but it's something
No, it's
like
another
that.
one of the ways that we have developed away from like what was seen as accepted communication to more symbolic weird shit.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Man, we're deep.
Yeah, we're so
Please clap.
We're so fucking woke, Dave. Anyway, yeah, so that's what they've got going. And then on the other side, you have what is now, hands down, one of the most historic events in the history of the Department of Justice, if not the, and one of the funniest things to ever happen in the history of America. Yesterday, when President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort was raided by the federal government. Because, and then it gets funnier when you talk about the reason, because he stole classified paperwork from the White House and allegedly. And when he was told you're not supposed to do that, he was basically like, nah, nobody can stop me, allegedly. And this is all part of the whole issue that they were looking into whether or not he had shredded paper inappropriately by like flushing it down toilets and such. It's a ridiculous mess of a story. But the fact that the dude, A, wasn't there, B, wasn't told, C, allegedly the White House wasn't told at all, which I find really fucking hard to believe. Even if that is supposed to be the way it works, which I understand it to be, you still think they would get a heads up. Like, we're having to raid a former president, guys.
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal.
It is.
So when I logged on and saw this last night, I really wanted to look into it. I'm like, I wonder what the warrant looked like. What's this cover? What are we seizing here?
They even broke into his safe.
And I got so bogged down by the dunking on, and I don't even care. I don't even like the guy, but just the lame Twitter spiking the football of like, it's like, yeah, dude, like he's a piece of shit.
You're speaking about the blue check marks again.
The blue check marks, they make everything so lame, and it makes it very hard to get accurate intel. And I am a blue check mark myself.
It's brought me shame to have one at this point.
Yeah, we could get rid of it.
No, I'm just kidding. Fuck those people. I'm not losing my blue check mark because of them.
I could see a scenario where he had to know this was a real possibility, Trump that is. So I feel like he has enough people around him who are smart, evil maybe, some might say, but intelligent enough to like get the shit out of there, if in fact there is the shit.
Maybe.
This happened at the end of the Clinton administration, too. I'm going to engage in what they call whataboutism. And I'm not making like a comparison, but I'm just saying like this stuff happens. It was an advisor to Bill Clinton, Sandy Berger, I believe is his name, left with a bunch of documents. And he got convicted, and I think he lost his law license. He lost his security clearance, obviously.
Right, and the big part being that then you can't be involved in politics ever again.
Right.
Which is obviously why it's easy to in your head go, well, okay, yeah, the Democratic Party would definitely want this to happen because they don't want Trump to run, which is where the right is going with it, which is, again, part of my point here is you got to be able to see both sides, and it's not a far jump to get to that.
You're probably like me in the sense of like, man, for content purposes, you don't want Trump to go away. In fact, you might want him to run. But for like just overall health of like everything,
purposes?
Yeah, like, dude, no. Like we got to get two new
for
folks
the
up
love
there.
of God, enough of both of these old fucking dudes. They're just both kind of morons. And to answer your question, I don't know if he has people that are smart enough around him to know that they should definitely get anything illegal the fuck out of there.
I might have been giving him too much credit. If his a personal attorney is still Rudy
bro?
G.
It's just, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of good decision making going on at the highest level on either side.
It's unreal.
And it is mind boggling to me. And so to watch all of this, it keeps snowballing. It keeps getting worse and more outrageous, and to the point where now this FBI situation is going on, and there's already all these Republican politicians threatening to like fucking dismantle the FBI when this is all said and done.
Okay.
And you've got the Alex Jones case going on at the same exact time, who is just one of the more ridiculous and shameless members of the media to ever exist in the history of humanity.
A real wild ride, that guy.
It's completely insane. Like the story of Alex Jones from, beginning to end is unbelievable.
Yeah. Cable access, guerrilla journalist. Not like he like covered guerrillas, but like, on the street, man on the street stuff, like in the late 90s. I remember I would drive from San Marcos, where we went to school, to Austin for an internship. And one of the radio stations I got played the Alex Jones show. And this is when it was, it was AM or whatever. And I'd occasionally listen. And he was like ground floor, Bush is a, war criminal, blah, blah, blah. And then, he kind of figured out where his audience was. And then he turned his sights on. Well, he kind of turned it on everybody.
Right.
But then he kind of got, he got on the Trump train for a while. I don't know where he is there.
Well,
but
he found more money in that direction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now it's just, not recently, but in the last year, I saw him at the Nordstrom at the
Barton Creek Mall. No shit.
Yeah, which is the funniest place to see him because it's Nordstrom. It's like a high-end department store that I like parking at because it's just easy.
Yeah, it's great. That's where I park.
And by the way, sometimes like during the holidays, they've got a guy playing piano. It's a cool vibe in there.
It is. Very nice.
I'm walking through and I'm like, I'm going to go to E-Bar. It's like their thing, and get a cup of cold brew. And there's Alex. I hear his voice. Like, he's talking to somebody. I look over. Oh my God! It's Alex Jones in Nordstrom. What's this fucker buying in Nordstrom? Is he buying like a $200 shirt or something? Some stuff that Barrett would wear. I like to picture that.
Definitely not something Barrett would wear, but I'm betting just that's where he gets like his button downs and shit.
Yeah.
Because those are rich guy button downs, and he's a rich guy. Very, very wealthy dude.
Very wealthy. Well, he was.
I mean, that's part of the story is that, like you said, when he identified where the most engaged version of the audience was on the far end of the spectrum, he fucking went all in. And that's why I call him shameless, because similarly to like Tucker Carlson, and there's plenty of examples on the left as well, they figured, fuck the truth. There is way, way more money in this version of it.
Sure.
And have taken full advantage, but like nobody to the point of saying that like the school shooting that happened didn't happen.
Right. A big misstep.
It was a slight
really went out on a limb
misjudgment.
there.
Absolutely insane behavior.
And you know what? He's got some of the best clips out there, like that hit the timeline of just him like berating people or running around like
he's completely
the street,
ridiculous. Yeah,
calling people like fucking fuckers or whatever. It's just like, dude,
you fucking fucker,
you goddamn son of a bitch. Watch, like, dude, some of his clips are so. They're just so absurd, and I don't even know like what part of my brain they're tickling. See,
that's the thing.
It's like, what is this?
If it didn't impact our society negatively,
right?
I would love the fact that he exists because it is an absurd, hilarious part of our pop culture lexicon. But as like where we're at, I mean, there's way too many people that believe his shit for it to be okay anymore, and that's where it gets weird.
There's a segment of people who believe that he is actually a CIA asset, and he is an agent of disinformation, mainly to what's the word?
Like sow chaos?
Chaos, but more like make it look like, because for every Sandy Hook was a hoax, as he said.
Yeah.
He talks about stuff that a lot of people believe, like JFK assassination conspiracy, stuff like that.
Alien stuff.
So it degrades that. It makes people be like, oh, if this guy is just across the board batshit. So like, therefore, everything he's saying must not be true. That's a theory. I don't know if I buy into it. I think he's just motivated by money, because I saw where they were making, like, at one point, InfoWars, his outfit, like $800K a day during like the height of it, and like, I mean, just, which is insane.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude. And they, his net worth was rumored to be, I think they brought in somebody.
And that's not even talking about like this good fucking events he does and all the crazy other shit that he gets involved in.
I mean, they were saying his net worth was somewhere around like 45 mil.
Yeah.
And now he declared bankruptcy, and I don't
He's
know.
been telling everybody he's broke. They already found a bunch of shell companies. He's not doing a good job.
No.
His fucking lawyers
This
are
is
the
a
worst
rich-
lawyers of all time. The story about them giving the prosecutor 2 years of his text messages
That's
is
right.
unreal.
There's some people who think that was done as part of a strategy, so maybe on purpose, because even like your first year lawyer, like you don't make that mistake. That is on a case this big that is getting all of the national attention. That's a mistake you don't make.
That's so weird. It's just it's all so weird.
And to not declare it privileged after the fact, it just doesn't.
That doesn't make any fucking
No,
sense.
it really doesn't. And I honestly have kind of tried to avoid that because, again, it's just like, and it's happening here in our backyard. Which makes it very difficult. Like, I just want to watch local news and see like how the Westlake boys are looking this spring.
Oh, those days are over, David.
Yeah, now it's just Alex Jones and Taiwan.
Those days are over. All right, let's move on. Today's episode of RBP is also brought to you by Bird Dogs. Bird Dogs have completely changed the game. They're shorts, pants, and joggers made from the finest high-quality material and come with built-in liners that cradle your stovepipe for all-day comfort. Who the fuck likes being uncomfortable? It is hot as shit outside, and if you're wearing shorts that don't breathe, don't support your nads with a pair of built-in underwear that don't make you feel sexier than Pamela Anderson on Baywatch running down the beach, then what the hell are you doing, friend? It's time to upgrade your shorts and pants to those of the future. Your balls will thank you. And because you listen to RBP, Bird Dogs is throwing in a free gift with your order. If you go to birddogs.com, enter promo code Ross. That is birddogs.com, code Ross when you check out, and boom, a free pair of Bird Dogs. Or I'm sorry, a free gift with your pair of Bird Dogs. You will not take these things off. I promise you. They're incredible. Birddogs.com, code Ross. All right, a couple of questions before I turn you loose. One, what the fuck is happening? So I saw that LIV Golf picked up Cam Smith
and Mark Leishman.
And Mark Leishman. Now, we were already at a point where I was like, this is... Now, I'm asking you because you're significantly more educated on the PGA than I am.
Facts.
Now, and I for weeks, it's obviously been the case that this LIV Golf situation is LIV Golf. Excuse me. Is it not? Do the people call it LIV?
Yeah.
Okay. Is a very real threat. Is becoming an issue.
Hey, by the way.
Yeah.
Tough time for our girl Liv Langdon, friend of the show.
For sure.
Because it's spelled the same way and
That's
everything.
right.
And she's just out there dominating, minding her own business. And then you got this fucking thing. She's
The
like,
first example of her name just being completely shit on. I've had Ross dress for less my whole life.
Shout out to Liv. But yeah, I'm sorry, Ross.
No, so with where we're at today, where they're picking up like the Open Championship winner from a few weeks back.
Right. Big get.
Because before it was like, oh, these are just old guys.
Well, you had Phil, and you're like, okay, Phil's 51 or whatever.
Makes sense. Getting his big payday.
But then you had DJ. And DJ's in his mid-30s, but
that was a major blow.
He's still DJ. Then you had Brooks, who famously said, I'm definitely not going to do that. And then like 2 months later, it turns out tens of millions of dollars will change a man. Yeah, and then so that's kind of the floodgates open a little bit. Then you started seeing some players going right out of college, getting some young talent, and I understand where they're coming from. It's like guaranteed money.
Right.
Like, you're a kid, 20 years old, like, fuck, how am I going to say no to $15 million? Especially if you come from like a normal or even a below normal upbringing.
For sure. And I think one of the things the PGA, one of their many mistakes in handling this situation was assuming that not this many people would take the Saudi money, right? Because they thought that the politically incorrect nature of that and that whole situation, which we don't have to get into, but it is a big piece of the puzzle from the PGA's standpoint. They definitely looked at this and went, okay, Phil, sure. Some of the old guys, sure. But no way a bunch of these young dudes, basically, in their eyes, throw their career away for Saudi Arabian dirty money.
Ross, they got Taylor Gooch.
They got the Gooch. Dude, they're getting everyone, it seems like. What the fuck? So is the PGA, like, could you see it ceasing to exist eventually?
I mean, yeah, really.
At this point?
In the current, in its current form, yeah, because, it's a non-profit, right? So it's structured differently, and they're not able to compete with that. Their money comes from, TV deals and sponsorships, and like the Saudis,
not oil.
No, yeah, glaring lack of fossil fuels in their repertoire.
Yeah.
I looked at their pitch deck. I'm like, how are you gonna Do you guys have any mineral interests or like where's your?
Because they got an ocean of oil beneath their feet over there.
Right.
They're like Daniel fucking whatever from There Will Be Blood.
I'm an oil man.
I've abandoned my boy.
But yeah, dude, it's guaranteed money. They don't care. Like if you believe what people say, they're probably not concerned with turning a profit, making it a profitable thing. It's just
they don't give a fuck.
You know, the word of the day is sports washing. They're using sports to
wash their moral issues,
yeah,
societal
like
issues.
hey man, remember 9/11? Like don't remember that. Remember Brooks over here hitting this 6 stinger off a 2.
Remember not letting women drive or
Right.
read books?
And then we executed or beheaded like 80 dudes in one day.
Remember that journalist?
Yeah.
No, don't think about that. Think about Brooks Koepka.
We cut them apart in an embassy.
See, and honestly, when you break it down, it is a little shocking how many of these dudes have been like, nope, fuck it. But then look, here's my counter to that. In woke America 2022, you cannot possibly look at our own country. You cannot possibly look at our situation in the Middle East recently with what we did in Iraq and Afghanistan and how those things were justified.
Very fair point.
And feel like that you can be justified in either way.
So-
But the organization,
Yeah.
the PGA itself, obviously free and clear of all that. And that's where it's like, damn, man, this is crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, like the kind of money that, where your funding probably comes from somewhere, whether it's a banking institution or, private equity that has its hands dirty in something.
Some of our biggest banks have like Nazi shit, dude.
We've been through this. Yeah. So on one hand, I'm like, yeah, man, that I want to be like, well, yeah, they're bad, but let's like talk about what we, what our institutions do here. And on the other hand, I'm just like, dude, I'm not going to watch this shit. I don't want all the golfers to go do that because none of the LIV tournaments have prestige. It'll take years. Let's assume that it works and the PGA collapses and everybody's playing a global LIV tour. It'll take years for those tournaments to develop prestige. They're only 54 holes, which doesn't bother me that much, but it is still unstable. And the team stuff is it's a lot of corny. A lot of the logos are really shitty.
Bro, it is
truly shit.
It is something else.
Shout out to the Fireballs.
It's entry level. It's first year
The 4
college
aces.
fucking marketing class level.
It
shitty.
absolutely is. But I'm like, dude, I don't care if Brooks goes out and shoots 62 on Sunday to win in Portland or whatever. That doesn't mean anything. And it's funny to me, like, and the tour had to do this with the FedEx Cup, where it's like the big sell to viewers. It's like $10 million is on the line. To me, a guy who doesn't make $10 million, that doesn't move my needle because these guys, for the most part, are already extremely well off. So I don't really give a fuck if they're making $30 million, 50, 60. That doesn't do anything for me. Like
It doesn't change the stakes for you as a viewer at home.
Right. I'll tune in for the majors, assuming they all like.
It was already generational wealth they were playing for. None of us were really
Right.
concerned about that level of it. On like it. Yes, and this is a thing that I think on the other side that the Saudis didn't give enough fucking power to. A huge part of the draw of golf has always been the prestige of the tournaments, right? There's a reason I watch the Masters no matter who the fuck is on the leaderboard.
Yeah.
And that is not something you can buy. That is something that is built over generations and generations of the best in the world playing in the exact same places.
Sure.
So unless they can purchase that, which I'm not saying they can't, I don't actually know, there's no fucking way you can ever recreate what the PGA has. So even if this fucks them temporarily, if we lose all the stars of golf to LIV Golf, I still think LIV Golf is fucked because for the same reason, I'm never watching this shit. I don't care about that. I was already a borderline golf guy who only watches the big-ass tournaments, and that's it.
You're a normal golf fan. That's how the casuals are.
Very much so.
But like, the thing that sucks for me is although not lately, and a lot of that's because of the fields that have been out there, but like, I'm tuning in for Colonial. I'm tuning in for the Shell. Like they usually get big names. Not all of them, but they get enough. And it's like, oh, I know the history of this course. This is Ben Hogan's course, for example. It's like, that's cool to me. It does nothing for me to just see everybody playing a shotgun start in Bedminster or wherever they were.
What if they play on like a floating course in Dubai?
I'm in for that. Dubai's lit.
Yeah. Dubai's lit. Anyway, I just needed to get your take on all that. Because, like, to me at this point, I'm like, holy shit, they might actually be sunken. Like, this is going to really, really, really fuck up golf for a long time. And to your point, it sucks
If they lose,
for golf fans.
I mean, the big three, I mean, I'm probably leaving people out, but if it's Rory, Spieth, and JT, if they lose any one of those guys, I don't think those guys will go, but
That would screw
that would
them
really,
with the younger
really,
generation demographic, too.
because Rory, I think, outside of the cat, the big cat, Rory and Jordan, that's like 2A, 2B on like popularity and like people that you will tune in to watch. I will tune in to watch them play if they were playing the Wyndham on Saturday. And
Right.
Spieth has one of those rounds going where he's going bogey, birdie, and just like a wild round, but he's still in it somehow.
Yeah.
I love that, but it's going to suck. And I hate it because Cam Smith is one of my favorite golf personalities of the last few years. And
now he's gone.
yeah, I mean, you'd heard the rumblings that the Aussies were going to go, and Leishman too. Leishman's a fan favorite. He's a good dude, and you know what? Turns out that the bag,
Irresistible, dude.
Irresistible Bags. That's a new podcast we're starting.
It is a fucking bummer, though, for sure. Today's episode is also brought to you by MyBookie, our sportsbook and online casino sponsor here on the Ross Bolen podcast. MyBookie. Listen, bettors don't let other bettors take hot action alone. So grab a few cold ones, call up your best buds, and get ready for some action. Place some bets, take your shirts off, maybe even kiss a little. Not a lot of sports on right now. A lot of baseball. Got some MMA going. You need to make sure that the sports you are betting on are as exciting as possible, or that you are watching are as exciting as possible by betting with MyBookie. Baseball can be tough, man. Middle of the season's kind of a slog. It's a lot of games, but when you bet on them, it obviously gets better. It's always been my feeling about baseball in the middle of the season when we're not yet into a place where it feels like the playoff pressure is building. My Houston Astros doing great. Been betting them a lot as I watch. Super fun on MyBookie.ag. Again, use the promo code RBP. You'll get a match half your deposit bonus. So if you put in up to $1,000, by the way. So if you put in $1,000 and you use code RBP, they'll match half of your deposit by giving you another $500 to play with. Stipulations apply. MyBookie's great. Like I've said, they got the live casino as well. You can play blackjack. You can play roulette. You can watch the dealer or the ball dropper or whatever they're called on roulette. It's a blast. Had a fun time on there myself. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Just use code RBP to support the show and let them know we sent you and unlock that deposit bonus matching half up to $1,000. Yesterday marked the 18-year anniversary of the Dave Matthews tour bus dumping 800 pounds of human waste from their septic tank onto a passenger sightseeing boat on the Chicago River below. Now, I just wanted to make that note. We don't have to talk about it. I actually did a podcast on it, episode 409 at one point. If you have any jokes about it, you're more than welcome to reel them off.
Well,
I'm still a huge Dave fan, by the way.
We did this story this morning briefly, and
On Circling Back.
And we were like, this happened in like 2004. So it was like, how has this not been a bigger deal? And I think the answer is this happened before Twitter.
Yeah.
And
It's just so much
I feel
waste.
like it snowballs because like Twitter started in what, 07, 08?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
So somebody tweeted about it. And then like in 09, somebody saw a tweet and it was like, they tweeted about it. I was like, oh yeah, this thing happened. And then now it gets bigger and bigger every year, even though it happened that long ago. Because it's just like so many people are like you and me, like, wait, what? Like,
It's just,
this should have been national news.
it's 800 pounds of human waste. It didn't, if that number wasn't in there, I wouldn't be as just amazed by the story, but it's just so much waste.
So there's a tie-in here. Have you watched the new Woodstock 99 documentary on Netflix?
Okay, no. So I've only seen the HBO one, and now I'm hearing about this one, and people are saying this is even better.
They cover the same ground, but I think it is a little bit better.
Like just in more detail?
You're somewhat in my age demo. I mean, you're a couple years younger than me. I think you'll enjoy
I mean,
it.
you fucking aged him, still.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm an old man. I'm
Literally like 2 years.
old chunk of coal. But no, there is a element of the water being contaminated at Woodstock 99. What an absolute joke of a festival.
Just one of the worst
Dude.
blunders ever.
And again, another thing that like had social media been around, it would have been
Oh
it
my.
would have been Firefest on steroids.
People would have Woodstock as a brand would not be like spoken about anymore. It'd be eviscerated, canceled off the face of the earth.
Yeah, I mean, as it should be at this point, because and even the guy that put that on passed away in the last year or so. But it's like, dude,
good.
Who thought this was a good idea? 200,000 people, like fake security guards, unarmed, and just no water. $4 for water in 1999.
It was basically like prison.
Yeah, with corn.
But instead of the women being segregated from the men, they were there.
And then you had Kid Rock in a fur coat.
And fucking Limp Bizkit is still the most unbelievable shit to see, like, that was a thing.
I still go back sometimes when I still
There's a few of those songs that are fucking jams.
I still partake in the booze a little bit. And sometimes, like on a Friday night, the wife goes to bed, the baby's sleeping.
Yeah.
I'll sit out there, have a drink or two, and fire up Rage Against the Machine, Woodstock 99 set. It's a killer set.
Yeah, but that's good music.
It is good music. Now, there's a lot of shitty music.
But Limp Bizkit, I don't know how you excuse that. I'll throw on Korn. They got some good shit.
Korn's set is a good watch, too, because they were night one. So this is before, like, people were like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. Everybody's still enjoying themselves, and they're not...
Things hadn't been lit on fire yet.
Yeah, they weren't revolting at the lack of amenities and toilets and poop water. But Korn goes out there and blows it up, dude. And it's a fun set to watch, because you're like, oh, my God. There was a time where I was really into Korn.
Me too.
Like... And Limp Bizkit, more so Korn. Limp Bizkit, I'm not embarrassed about Korn. I'm a little bit embarrassed about Limp Bizkit.
I'm embarrassed about Limp Bizkit just because I'm embarrassed that Fred Durst is like the face of it.
But now he's cool again. You know that, right?
No shit.
He had like a resurgence. Like they've had a renaissance like within the last year.
Okay, the red Yankee cap was just unbearably bad though. That was just one of the worst fucking
Didn't make
things
sense.
of
He's
all
from
time.
Jacksonville.
So fucking stupid.
Yeah, like dude.
Really made me upset.
Yeah, as it should. But yeah, check out that documentary. That would be a fun one.
I have to.
That would be a fun one for you and the Bone Zone to watch together.
All right, as our last topic, you mentioned to me something about Irv Gotti on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
What
Did you watch the clip?
Nah. I can pull it up real quick though.
Okay. Well,
so first of all, Irv Gotti, you're talking about the Irv Gotti that was the head of Murder Inc.
Absolutely.
So the dude who engaged in beef with Eminem and Dr. Dre and
50 Cent famously.
He was Ja Rule's boss and Ashanti's boss back when you and I were in high school.
There's a pod called Drink Champs that I think you're probably familiar with.
Yeah, very familiar.
Who's that? Who hosts that? Is that...
I want to make sure. Super familiar. Don't know the hosts, but very, very familiar. That one is Nori, N-O-R-E, and DJ Effin.
Okay. Hi, I'm a 38-year-old white guy.
Yes, me too.
So
35.
He goes on there. I don't know what Irv Gotti's been doing, but I'm very, very aware of the Murder Inc. era. I actually liked a lot of that stuff. I'm a big Ashanti guy. We met her at South by one time. Me and a guy we used to work with snuck backstage before she performed.
Shit.
She took a photo with us. She was awesome and still very, very...
Oh, she's
very beautiful to me.
Very, very attractive. But yes, and to your point, Ja Rule went hard. All right? Ja Rule was Drake. He just mixed rap and R&B.
He did.
And then 50 Cent eviscerated him, and he no longer went hard because all of us had to make fun of him collectively.
And the funny thing was, on 50's like first album with Aftermath, he had songs on there like
he sang
that were just like what Ja Rule was doing. The
yes, Candy Shop,
Nate Dogg, and
Candy Shop was borderline even,
and Magic Stick.
Yeah,
Magic Stick, objectively good.
Yep. But
Candy Shop, arguably the same song.
There was but there was singing. 50 was doing some singing, so it didn't really make logical sense, but it didn't have to because he destroyed him.
He did. And he had like, at one point it was like, all the people you don't want dissing you if you're Ja Rule. It's like Busta Rhymes, Eminem, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, the entire G Unit. You got Lloyd Banks getting bars. And you're just like, dude, what am I going to do? Who did Ja have? I don't know who Ja had. Like Cadillac Todd. I don't know who all was on Murder Inc.
There was nobody that was worthy of being in that fight with him.
The reason I texted you is because Irv was on that podcast a couple days ago. And the clip that's going around is a story he tells. And they're like, dude, Irv is not over it and he won't stop bringing it up. He starts telling the story about how he found out Ashanti, who he was having relations with at the time, was running around on him with Nelly. And this is like '02. So this is Nelly, like arguably the biggest musician in the world, definitely in hip hop for a time.
Yes,
him
he was.
And 50, he was up there. He was a tier 1 artist.
Country Grammar is still all time.
So good. And he starts telling the story, and the clip's going around. And he's like blasting a cig when he's telling it, and he looks so sad. And he's talking about how he's at home, and he pops on the TV, and he's watching League Pass, which I didn't know was even around in '02.
Wow.
But he's like, I'm a League Pass guy, and like, there's whatever game he's watching, the announcer's like, oh, there's a ruckus in the crowd. And it's Nelly and Ashanti. And he did not, and that's how he found out.
Oh my God.
And he goes on at length, and you should definitely watch this clip because you're like, dude, that was a long time ago.
A really long time ago.
Yeah,
You still be
like,
holding that grudge that
it's
close.
like you've been holding this in.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so
I feel like he went to prison for a while, maybe too.
Did
so
he?
maybe he just got out and has the opportunity to speak on it finally.
maybe it was for all the murder.
No, he really was running. He got indicted on racketeering charges. I can't remember what happened, but like he was attempting to. They got him like they got YSL right now, free YSL gang.
Yeah, Young Slime Life, right?
Got to fucking free those guys though.
Yeah,
I do know that.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It is, and I will always entertain stories like that with any of those characters because like that was like high school for me.
Yeah,
and that was like I was into all of that.
It was our formative years. We were very, very into all the hip hop beef that was going on nationwide all the time.
For sure.
I was locked the fuck in. Dude.
I was taking sides.
Absolutely.
I don't know these people.
Dude, there were Eminem songs that some of the songs they made about Ja Rule were unbelievable. Like classic records for some stupid ass beef.
Never really.
Songs getting dropped on mixtapes and shit.
Yeah.
It's not really a thing we have anymore. Drake made like one good hit song about Meek Mill. I can't remember which one it was, but it was
back
good.
to back.
Yes, that was very, very good.
That's a good one. You know which one I think about? What beef, and this will hit close to home for you, is it's a couple Houston artists. One that I really, really enjoy, and the other that iconic, but not my cup of tea, and it's Chameleonaire and Mike Jones.
Yeah.
So their beef, I was a big Chameleonaire guy. And
huge. I was huge. He was like my number one.
Yeah, dude. He was just, he was singing a little bit too, doing his own melodies and stuff.
He was
it
great
sounded
with
great. Him and Mike Jones got crossways. I don't even know the backstory, but he released like an entire mixtape, and each song on the mixtape is mixtapes. I think it's mixtape Messiah 1.
Yeah.
Entire thing is just each one is a diss track to Mike Jones,
and it's like 48 tracks.
It's a lot, and
like
dude,
2 discs.
They're really, really good beats, and like they're actually pretty well done. But at the end of the day, I was like,
man, he really hated that guy.
To devote to. I mean, like most people would have stopped at one song.
He really, really hated that guy.
Yeah.
But it's almost looking back like they had to have known they were both elevating their careers through this nonstop bullshit.
Yeah.
And we just, as a city, Houston had just so much of that. At one point, Zero and Slim Thug had beef. Paul Wall and Chameleonaire didn't talk for years and years and years and years.
Dude, one of my first Houston albums I got into was those two.
Yeah, Lil Flip and T.I. had famous beef. There was just so much. We were like the beef city for some reason for a while there.
Dude, all these artists who'd been like grinding in the like mid to late 90s were getting like noticed and getting deals. And
they couldn't get along.
No, man, it was wild. And then I don't know. Like I would love a podcast that was deep diving the Houston music scene from like 1992 onward would be something I listened to.
I bet it exists in some capacity.
Didn't they do a movie, like a DJ Screw movie?
I feel like they did, but then I didn't hear shit about it after the release.
Yeah, and I remember thinking like, oh, I'd love to watch that, and then I got shit on, like the Tupac movie.
Yeah.
When people had their camera phones out at a Tupac concert, and
yeah.
I don't know if the dates line up there.
That was not good.
I didn't have a camera phone in 1994. I don't know about you guys.
That was not good.
The tech wasn't there yet.
I think I saw that in theaters, dude, which is kind of embarrassing in hindsight. But yeah. Dave, thank you for being with us here today.
Thanks
David Ruff, everybody. Again, one of the founders of Washed Media, one of the hosts of the Circling Back podcast.
Please clap.
Thank you. Had fun.
Thank you for all of your time. Anything else you want to plug on the way out?
Just check us out, Washed Media. Circling Back Pod, Too Much Dip Podcast, our sports one. You guys might know Dylan Shivery. He's on both of those things. Will DeFreeze of Sunday Scaries fame.
If you don't know who these people are, then you haven't gone back to episode 1 because they've all been on this show. And you should. But yeah, support the Washed Media guys.
Yeah, check us out.
Listen to the Circling Back podcast wherever you're listening to RBP. Dave, I'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
That will do it for today's show. Appreciate y'all very much. By the way, did you know you can watch full episodes of the Ross Bolen podcast on YouTube? Just go to YouTube, search the Ross Bolen podcast. You can watch this entire episode with Dave and I. It'll be a blast. Speaking of which, thank you very much to Mr. David Carter Ruff for being here today. Dave is the man, one of my favorite living people, one of the funniest people I've ever met. Follow him on Instagram at DCRuff, DCRUFF, and on Twitter at DCarterRuff, DCarterRuff. Dave, appreciate you. Thank you very much, sir. And what else? Go to bolenmedia.com/shop to get yourself some merch. Subscribe to Oysters, Clams, and Cockles because we got House of the Dragon podcasts coming August 21st. And if you're watching Westworld Season 4, which only has 1 episode left, Freeze All Motor Functions is the podcast for you. And if you love F1, check out the Formula Bone F1 show, wherever you listen to RBP, hosted by Jared Borislow. Jared will be back next week. I will be back again Friday on patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast, perhaps again with a special guest. You'll have to wait and see. But you are missing half the episodes each week if you're not on patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast right now, and that's a mistake. That's a huge mistake. It's just $5 a month. Get in there, support the show, and you'll get way mo episodes. You understand me? Until next time, peace be with you, and also with you.